Okay, I'm with Willi Paul, Community Alchemy Open Studio number 7, first Community Alchemy session of 2012. Willi, what are you working on today?
Well, thanks for hosting at the Elks Club. This is a fantastic racquetball court.
Hey, we're benevolent and we're protective.
I'm working on ecotourism as it might relate to a local Ecuadorian community and how permaculture might interact as a three-way system or economy, as Rob pointed out. Some things that are inputs, natural resources obviously are critical to all these sectors. There's a design element, there's certainly culture between the ecotourists who come in and do the business deal. The local economy also has their own songs and symbols. People, workers, all common as inputs. Land, there's infrastructure, roads, water, energy, capital. So one of the primary inputs here is the permaculturists and their ethics, helping to guide sustainability and stewardship. Point out quickly that the intersection of all three sectors is home, and everybody needs to take a look at their stewardship and their recycling practices and how they're generating power. Outputs, localization or shared resources, food, power, governance perhaps. Other outputs, education, experiences, training, nature preserves might actually encompass all of this. Greentech solutions, of course, food is the primary output. So, key points between these, there's a cultural exchange between the local folks and the ecotourism business. There's food also between the permaculturists and the communities. That could be an income. And, of course, we talked about the ethics that are driven by permaculture throughout the system. So, some things that Rob added. Permaculture is an assessment tool for measuring the sustainability of the ecotourism economy. That's a very interesting way to look at this model. Cultural exchange is obviously a two-way process. And finally, ecotourism is actually protecting what or exploiting what? Good questions. Thanks a lot. Rob, nice to see you at Open Studio 7. What are you working on?
I'm playing around with a concept I jotted out last year that I wanted to revisit. And it stemmed from this sort of sense that in all the discussion of alternate economies, time banks, etc., that there was something very basic that was still at the heart of this economy that needed to be changed if we were to really talk about a major change to our consumer society that we live in here in the United States. So what I sort of hypothesized as the root of the trouble was the transaction. And what would happen if we moved beyond transactions? Now I would hypothesize that the questions that drive our economic activities right now are what do I want, and then what do I have to transact in order to get that. And these are very, I would say, an input-driven way to interact with the world. What do I want from the earth? What am I going to be taking from the earth? And then what do I have to transact, what's going to be my outflow? Problem with this is when you're looking at, the question is what do I have to transact, and it doesn't matter whether it's gold, T-bills, or time, you're seeking value through scarcity. So if we just keep everything in the outside world the same, I'm not going to try to change the world today. What if I only wanted to change myself? And do that in a very simple way by asking entirely different questions. And if those questions are, what do I have to give? and what is available, how does that change how I interact with the world? And it basically takes my interaction with the world and all the people in it from an input-driven approach to an output-driven approach, where I am giving what I'm abundant in, finding someone to accept that output, or someone or something to accept that output as their own input, and then looking around for the resources that are available. So what happens is now I'm living an outward-looking perception of abundance. And just to start, let's assuming, and again, this is by no means the case for everyone, but assuming I wake up and I'm not hungry and I have a roof over my head, then what are some easy things that I can give away? What do I have, potentially have? I can pay attention. I can give my attention to somebody. I can smile. I can provide information. In this new paradigm, is raw, unformatted information free? Is that a desirable goal? I can offer my opinion or feedback. Not always welcome. What happens if goodwill and trust are unearned, where I'm not, no one has to earn my goodwill, and there's not a transaction that somehow results in my offering goodwill or trust? What happens if I'm freely giving of my curiosity, with making requests? And what happens if I share my experience? If everyone is asking these two new questions, and one of the first things that they want to share with the world is their experience, how is that going to help to prevent a loss of wisdom across generations? And this is, these are all, very sort of emotionally based outputs. We haven't even gotten to the resources yet. So it adds to a whole new sort of way of interacting with the world, where the questions are now, what resources do I have to give? Who or what is available to accept those resources? And then what resources are available for me to begin that cycle again? So it's, I would hope that by asking different questions, perhaps we'd result in different behaviors. And it's something that could be happening at the individual level, and hopefully could be a model for, even for a moment, changing the way we interact with the world. So there's my hope for the new year.
Very good. Thank you, sir.